So we've been talking about how when you start any study, you collect data. First thing you need to do is organize that data somehow. So you pick some criteria, some of them can be qualitative, some can be quantitative, and you group things together depending on how alike they are. In this video, we're going to get a little bit more specific about what types of criteria you can pick. So the weakest one is nominal. Nominal means name only. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. So one example is we've grouped people together by favorite baseball team. So I say, okay, he is a Yankees fan. That guy is a Mets fan. That guy is an A's fan. So all I'm doing is I'm putting people together according to some particular team name. There's nothing more to it. Could do the same thing if I take music. I can group by genre. Say, okay, that's a country song. That's a rock song. That's jazz. That's hip hop. So on and so forth. I could do student by major. That's an engineering student. That's a drama student. That's a math student. That's a whoever. So in all these examples, we're putting words on these people, but the words are just words. There's no particular order to them. There's no numbers associated with them. They're just straight up nothing but words. Alright. The next level is ordinal, where we add order to the picture. With ordinal, you can either have names or numbers, but the important thing is that they're in order. So let's say Miss America results. Well, there's Miss America. There's first runner-up. There's second runner-up. And so on and so forth. So not only are we talking about all the people who've ever been Miss America, all the people who've ever been first runner-up, all the people who've ever been second runner-up, we're also saying the Miss America group is on top. And then these are all the people that were just under being Miss America. These are all the people that were just under that, and so forth. So there's an order that goes with these labels I'm attaching to Miss America results. Another example, I could say highest degree earned. The highest you can get pretty much is a PhD. Lower than that, you've got masters. Lower than that, you've got bachelors. Below that, you've got associates. Below that, you've got high school. And I'm not sure they give degrees lower than high schools. But, I mean, all the people that have PhD are a group, just like all the people that have Yankees are a group. But that group kind of has a particular, I don't want to say it's better, but it's kind of above people who just have masters. That degree is above just having a bachelor's. That degree is above just having associates, so forth. So those were ones that just have words in them. You could do the same thing with if you have numbers. So if we look at top of the charts, this song is number 1. Next song is number 2. So in this case, this is quantitative data because it's numbers, and the numbers really do mean something. The numbers are also in order, so it is ordinal data. Alright. Even stronger than ordinal data, you have interval data, where the difference between numbers means something. So just to give you an example, if we go back to the top of the charts, well, if I say this song was number 1, this song was number 2, that difference between 1 and 2 doesn't really tell you anything. I mean, there's no telling if number 1 was a lot more popular than number 2, or if their album sales were nearly identical. You don't know just from looking at the numbers 1 and 2. On the other hand, if I say temperature, today is 80 degrees, yesterday was 75. Well, in this case, this difference between 85 and 75 means something. It means, well, it's 5 degrees hotter today than it was yesterday. Same thing if I do elevation. If one mountain is at 20,000 feet and the next mountain's only at 15,000 feet, well, this one's almost a mile higher than that one is. Okay. And then last but not least, the strongest level is ratio. And by strongest, I mean it's really the most restrictive. So if all of these include the previous one, if you're ratio, you're also interval. If you're interval, you're also ordinal. If you're ordinal, you're also nominal. So ratio is all of them. Interval is all the ones above it. Ordinal is also nominal. Ratio is where ratios of the numbers mean something. So a bad example, temperature is not ratio, because if it's 80 degrees today and it was 40 degrees yesterday, that doesn't mean that it's twice as hot today as it was yesterday. That's not the way temperature works. Same thing with elevation. Elevation, well, it tells you how far you are from sea level, but it's not really clear that something being twice as far from sea level really is a significant thing to say about it. So, good example of ratio is, well, money. $40 really is twice as much as $20. Right? Same thing if I went with height. If I've got something 3 foot tall, that is half of something 6 foot tall. So, a good rule of thumb, an easy way to tell if something's ratio, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the later videos. We'll talk a bit more about the difference between consecutive ones. But ratio is usually anytime 0 means 0. So if something has 0 money, you really do have no money. If something is 0 feet tall, it really is non-existent. Whereas if the temperature is 0 degrees, that doesn't mean there's not a temperature. There's still heat in the air. Same thing if something's at sea level, so it's 0 elevation, well, that still is an elevation. It just happens to be the same as the elevation of sea level. So if 0 really does mean nothing, then you're usually ratio. If 0 doesn't mean nothing, if it means something, then you're interval. Alright, so that's the 4 levels of measurement. Again, in the rest of the videos, we'll talk a little more specifically about the difference between each pair of them.